First and foremost, before we get into anything else in this Afterthoughts, I have to say something very, very important. All right, I want every single individual listening to this video to hear me out. All right. Room. Shambles. Come on. Look at her. Robin Greatness. Nico. Are you kidding me, man? We've been waiting for this for so long, and whenever we got the initial introduction to this battle, and that amazing first chapter introduction that had us all waiting on edge, could not wait to see what was going to take place with Robin and Brook versus Black Maria. And oh, did my boy Oda deliver, man. Not only did he deliver on some excellent fighting sequences, some incredible get that genjutsu out of my face, some awesome tactical moment. It was glorious. But above all those things, we got the things that I love to see the most within the battles in this story, and that is character moments and stuff that lets us know that characters have grown, whether it be strength-wise or character-wise. And within this chapter, there was a particular set of panels, series of panels, I should say, that truly highlighted just how much Robin and Brook have grown, man. And it was that set of panels where Robin was basically asking Brook about, the fact that he wasn't affected either. Because at the beginning of the chapter, we had the moments where Olvia and Saul and Clover showed up. And that's something that obviously at any given point would have some sort of impact on you. But what made that series of panels hit extremely hard, especially upon rereading, is that if you really think about how much these characters must have always wanted a moment like that between both Robin and Brook, which is why Brook talks about dreaming of seeing things like that, of seeing the people that were so close to him, his crew. Because my man's lost his entire crew out on the sea and out by himself for 50 years. He must have dreamt of the day that they would have come back. He must have dreamt of many different situations, of them popping up from the left, from the right, from down, from under. It doesn't matter. He just wanted to have them again, anyone, to show up again. We know Robin's story. We know everything that she had went through. Black Maria was mocking her for it, about being sold out, about never being able to trust anyone. And that's what makes this moment so special for me, man. And I cannot wait to see what OST they use in the anime. And I hope this is one of those sequences that I hope for flashbacks, because it really needs it, man, to drive home the fact that these two individuals have gone through so much. And so when Robin says that there are two peas in a pod, and we see the impact that being in this crew has had on both of them, to where now they are both presented, because we didn't see from Brook's perspective, but we for sure saw from Robin's perspective. And we know how much Olvia, Saul, and Clover mean to her. And for her to brush it off as a simple illusion without any bit of remorse showcases and lets us know. Same thing with Brook. For them to not be afflicted by this illusion lets us know that they have already let that go. They have moved to a point. It's something that's always going to stay in their heart. But they both, and now I'm going to talk about Sanji as well. All three of them have something very, very similar in their stories. And that is the loneliness that they felt. And the individuals that were with them telling them that one day they will find someone who will be with them on these seas. Someone who will make them smile. Someone who will make them feel like they belong. And so I can only imagine when Robin spoke those words about Sanji and about the respect that both of them have for each other. We know the amount of respect that Sanji has for her. Allowing himself to be like, you know what? I have something else that I need to do. He learned that back in Water 7. We all saw that back in Water 7. All right, in multiple different cases, but specifically on the sea train, we saw those lines being stated of every single person has something that only they can do. And that's a 100% fact. And so when Sanji left and left this in Robin's care, they were depending on each other. Robin was depending on Sanji to go take care of a situation at hand over there, and Sanji was depending on Robin to go take care of Black Maria. And what that shows us is that throughout this entire story, when it comes to specifically these three characters, and we know it's the same for everyone else, but when it comes to these three characters and the emphasis on how lonely they were before they found the Straw Hats, how they didn't feel like they belonged anywhere until they found the Straw Hats. And now that they have found this family, this place where they belong, no matter how many illusions of the past you may bring in front of them, they're going to say, screw all that. We are here to propel ourselves into the future, where Luffy will be the king of the pirates and all of us will accomplish our dreams together as a family. Because they are a family, man. When you see those lines, with the context of the entire story up until this point, I don't know how you can't look at that and be like, man, this is beautiful. Because it truly is. This was unquestioned. That line of Robin stating that both Luffy was going to be the king of the pirates and that Sanji is one of the wings that Luffy needs in order to soar and become king of the pirates. Those lines hit different when you remember everything these characters have gone through and how much burden they all put on themselves, specifically when it comes to Sanji and Robin. And the burden, because Brook really had no choice, man. Brook, and it makes it an extremely sad and unique situation for him that he real deal had no choice. And there's a promise he still has to keep when it comes to Laboon, which is why all these illusions they present to him is like, yo, that's the past. It hurts. I wish I could see them, but I will see them when the time comes. Right now, I got my family in the Straw Hats, and I got Laboon waiting for me, baby. But when it comes to Robin and Sanji, and specifically those two, and the burden that you know the two of them didn't want to put on anyone else. Robin went through the entire Water 7 and CP9 saga specifically so that she wouldn't place a burden on the people that she loved most, which is in the Straw Hats. Sanji did the same thing, going off and leaving a letter, going into Yonko territory on his own so that he wouldn't burden the Straw Hats. And what were the lessons that both of them learned? That they need to depend on their family, specifically the Straw Hats. They need to depend on someone else. It is okay to ask for help. It is okay for someone else to help you with a situation that is destroying you. Because then it is in those moments that you will be able to get out of those situations that seem inescapable. And so once you get out of that and you realize that there is a family here, there is a crew here that is willing to do it all, no matter what it takes, to ensure your safety and to ensure that you're good, because you are extremely important and integral, not only because of your role, but because of who you are, because no one else can do what you do. That is beautiful. That's One Piece, man. That's One Piece, period. Because it takes the greatness that we got in the initial introduction to this fight and amplifies it by letting us know exactly how it is, because this whole chapter was on relying and depending. You know, we saw it with Luffy and Momo, and now we saw it again with Robin and Black Maria. Let me talk about Black Maria for a sec, man. What in the world did she go through? Because we know nothing about a lot of these Tobiropo members. You know, we're starting to learn more and more about some of these characters. But for Black Maria in particular, the most mysterious, and it feels like, you know, she gives me that, in Bleach, I would see certain characters and I'm like, I know that individual is strong. You know, I can tell by the vibe that they gave off, that individual is strong. That's how I always saw Black Maria. But instead of strength, it was just, I can tell you that you have this experience to you that leads you to lead others. Like, it kind of feels like Black Maria is always in control. She has that type of personality. She never loses her composure, and when she does, it creates for awesome moments, like it was originally with Robin and Round once again. But I do wonder what she went through, because it felt like she was speaking from the heart when she was talking about not only dreams and dreaming of other individuals. That could very well be the case where Black Maria is in a Gecko Moria type of situation, where we know the Gecko Moria, the reason why Oda gave him that fruit is because he felt so damaged after losing his crew to Kaido that the very concept of being able to bring these individuals back to life through their shadows was something that he loved so much. He was like, yo, I'm gonna create this entire island out of shadows. And granted, that might not be the entire reason why he did it, but you know that was one of his motivations. No question. When you lose your entire crew like that, you're like, yo, I just want them back. And what better way than to have an ability that can actually do that? By taking shadows out of people, right? So it's like, in that same way, I wonder if Black Maria utilizes these illusions to put herself in a genjutsu and allow herself to see these individuals that she might have lost in the past, and allow herself to see these individuals that actually cared about her before she was sold out or before she was whatever, right? And maybe she still is in fear here under Kaido of being sold out. And so when she sees somebody like Robin, that is the antithesis of that, but yet somebody who could have become that, or who actually was that until she met the Straw Hats. I wonder how that's gonna connect, and that's why I can't wait for us to come back to Black Maria versus Robin. Not only because the fight is gonna be incredible. We saw her come out with the Netero hands behind her. Black Maria is looking A1. This is gonna be an amazing battle of throwing hands and of character moments. But I can't wait to see how Black Maria specifically reacts to Robin's continuous just ignoring all of her comments on how the entire world is going to be chasing after her, and how nobody's going to be able to do anything once everybody puts their eyes on her, how she's going to be thrown away once again whenever they realize that she's either too much trouble to keep it or whatever, right? I wonder how Black Maria is going to react and respond to Robin continuously coming back at her, being like, yo, you keep saying all this stuff, but you don't understand us. You know, Robin isn't even going to say it. She lives it. She is the living embodiment of it. Her existence is that theme. And so eventually Black Maria is going to have to come to this realization that every single thing that she's either lived and or is trying to spit right now is just not factual, bro. And so when that realization hits, and her and Robin, I wonder if she's going to have that moment with Robin of respect and or of admiration, of the fact that she was able to actually find some place where she belonged. And so I'm really looking forward to Black Maria's character from this moment on. And I'm also really looking forward to seeing this battle whenever we get back to it. And I'll talk about it a little more later on when I get to the section of the future Tororobo fights. But I really wanted to focus on that at the beginning because this is the stuff that makes One Piece my favorite series. It is the character moments that you just see built up for years and years and years and years. And when you see these major events that happened earlier on in the story, they weren't just events. These were situations that impacted our characters and allowed them to change and become who they are today. And I love stuff like that, man. And so that's why this chapter was so amazing to me. On top of all the other stuff that I'm about to talk about here, those character moments by itself, all that just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And then on top of that, the amazing battle sequences. Like I said, some of these panels with Black Maria and Robin and Brook doing his thing using the cold soul, freezing that thing, and Black Maria's she was taking on the Robin's spider net, and Robin coming right back down and be like, yo, what you mean? Like whenever Black Maria was trying to belittle Sanji, and she didn't say a single thing because you don't have to. She don't have to. She came into this fight stating, yo, that's it. You're gonna get wrecked. It's over. She don't gotta say no more. She's a living embodiment of it, man. Like she doesn't have to defend Sanji in the same way that right now she don't have to defend herself. And from a character standpoint, she don't have to speak. She's gonna let her actions speak for her, man. And I love it. And I'm looking forward to seeing what happens here with Brook, because I do wonder if this is going to be Brook's role here is to make sure that no one interferes and Robin has this battle to herself. That by itself would honestly be incredible to me, but I do wonder if Brook's going to have a major fight on his own. But honestly, even if he doesn't, the fact that these two individuals who were lonely for so many years are currently helping each other out to where Robin is fighting Black Maria, ensuring that Black Maria does not get anywhere else, right? Like Black Maria stays here and gets pwned, and Brook stops every other individual from interfering. Love it. Love it, man. So great stuff there. Cannot wait for us to come back to this battle. So many awesome panels. Can't wait for the dope page spread of Black Maria's defeat. really want her to come to that realization that everything that she has been stating, and I really want us to explore this concept of dreams a little more when it comes to her, and specifically dreaming of things from the past and things that you wish were still here. You know, that's a genuinely interesting concept, and I want us to explore it a bit further. But great stuff, man. I love that section for all characters. Robin, specifically for Robin, but Robin, Brook, Sanji, Black Maria, just all around interesting implications and just fantastic stuff. Once again, that line of dialogue about the wings and Luffy becoming Pirate King and Sanji being the wings that allow him to soar. I mean, just one of my favorite lines, and honestly, maybe even the whole series. Just a beautiful, beautiful line, man. But let's talk about Yamato versus Kaido for a sec, and then I'm going to move into a little... I basically talked about everything I want to talk about when it comes to Luffy and Momo. We've been talking about it for God knows how many years on the channel, but a little bit more, and then I'm going to end it off with the future Tobi battles, because I'm interested on how Oda's going to handle that. But before we get into any of that, Yamato and Kaido, right? In this chapter, there was something that was very interesting that was stated. Kaido said, it was like, it's your job to protect Wano. When speaking to Yamato, it was something along the lines of, it is going to be your job to protect Wano. And I don't know if he meant that as when I die, because we know that one of Kaido's main goal is to die. I mean, we saw that in his introduction. My man he's trying to go into the afterlife. You feel me? He's done. He's tired of living, which by itself makes him a very interesting character. But the fact that he possibly gave Yamato this fruit, because not only we see that Kaido wants Yamato. It's kind of like whenever a parent wants their children to be something that they don't want to do, and they do everything as possible in order to ensure that they can succeed in that thing that they want to do, even if that child doesn't want to do it. It's like that, right? Kaido wants Yamato to become shogun and is willing to do anything possible to give Yamato this fruit, which I'm still very curious. I searched it up, the name, a couple times, and I got, a snow dragon, a legendary snow dragon, which would explain the ice abilities. Okami, which of course is the one of the dogs of mythology, or wolf, if I'm not mistaken. And a great video game, by the way, great video game. And then the other one was I forgot what it was, but it was those two, like a legendary ice dragon and Okami. So regardless, Yamato is within that spectrum, right, at this point, which is why we see like the ice ability and whatnot, or what looks to be an ice ability. So you get fire and ice coming together, a song of ice and fire. Shout out to my boy George R.R. But we see that amazing Kamehameha sequence between the two of them. But what I'm intrigued about is, so Kaido really wants Yamato to become shogun. Obviously, because he wants this place, maybe he wants his lineage to continue on, and he wants someone to protect Wano. I don't know what the importance of Onigashima and Wano is to him, because we know that he calls it a special place. We don't know why he calls it that yet. We don't know if Kaido knows about the Void Century and there's something within the Void Century that's very important to him. We don't know if Wano's very important to him because of things that have taken place up until this point, because it allows him a sense of like, oh, this is my territory. I own Wano. Because I own Wano, it automatically makes me a special individual. I don't know what's going on in Kaido's head. Right, or the fact that Wano could possibly house the ability to, because it's based on Japanese mythology, and we've talked about like the whole Force Ghost thing before, how that could possibly be something too with like the Fire Festival. I don't know. I have no idea why Wano's special to him. But if he's going to these lengths to ensure that Yamato protects this place in his state when he's gone, then obviously not only is there a certain amount of trust, in Yamato to do this, but also just a massive amount of like desire to see that this place doesn't fall into anyone else's hands. And it's very interesting. And it makes me really want to see Kaido and Yamato's backstory even more, because now, first and foremost, I want to know who the mom is. And I don't even know if we'll ever find out, but what is it that causes Kaido to want to be here? It's specifically to protect this place. What is he protecting it from? Like he's here. I mean, you know how crazy it would be if we had like some sort of twist where Kaido's actually been protecting Wano all this time? He's doing all these devious things, yes. And he is a bad man. He's been putting in work, you know what I'm saying, for many years. And his actions and the actions of Orochi are killing the people within this country. There's no question about that. But what about if Kaido genuinely has been protecting this place in his heart, within his own motivations? Because we know how it is. When you're crafting a character, you have to believe that what they think they're doing is right. And so what if Kaido actually does genuinely believe that what he's doing is protecting Wano? So then that would lead me to believe he wants this place to be protected far beyond his death. Far beyond when he's gone. So what is Wano to Kaido? Like, what in the world is Wano to Kaido? So I'm interested. I'm genuinely interested. And it's something that I need more of. It's something that I cannot wait to see more of. Like, can you imagine a scenario where that is the case? Where Kaido, for some reason or another, I'm not entirely sure, but this place is so important to him that he's willing, that he found this fruit. He maybe even made that alliance with Big Mom for that very reason as well. Not only because to get the One Piece and everything, but preparing him, like just preparing the future. Like, just imagine preparing the future. Like, yo, when I pass on, who's gonna watch over Wano? I don't want it to be in the hands of someone who's gonna destroy this place and or not gonna protect it, because maybe that's what he doesn't want to happen. He doesn't want this place to get its borders opened because he doesn't want outside influence to hit this place and change it. So I don't know. I'm honestly at a loss for words when it comes to that, but it's so fascinating because with every chapter, Kaido becomes more and more interesting. But that line of specifically wanting Yamato to protect Wano is like, what? And then that also leads me to the next discussion. What in the world is Yamato's future? I mean, obviously for me, if you're asking me, I want Yamato to join the crew from day one, right? It's just, for me, I want the character interactions. I want to see Yamato's dream come into fruition, which I believe, and I want to see Yamato come into her own, accept who she truly is and whatnot. I want to see all that stuff. Or even if not joining the crew, remember the alliance, man. I don't care. I want more of Yamato in the future outside of Wano. But if that is not the case, because we still don't know what's going to happen here. We were all assuming that Momonosuke is going to be the one to be the shogun. But let's just put hypothetical situations out there, right? Let's just say that a situation comes down to where Momonosuke does not become the shogun of Wano, or he makes his own decision, because we see that this entire arc, or this entire saga, has been about Momonosuke making his own decisions. What about if he also decides to make a decision to go on a journey in the same way that his pops does, right? So he leaves Yamato in charge of Wano, and Yamato actually genuinely does become the ruler of Wano, but not the ruler of Wano that Kaido wants to be, but the ruler of Wano that only she can be. Now, on that same line of thought, this is where the end of this arc and why there's so much intrigue within what's going to take place in post-Wano comes. Because if there is a situation where, let's just say, the cabin boys come in, cabin boys and girls, and Momo and Tama, whatever, right, join the crew, hypothetical situation, and Yamato's left behind in Wano, I mean, just imagine a country specifically. Yamato is going to want to open those borders no matter what. I mean, we saw what happened in this chapter, that little line of dialogue with Odin. We already know that that's the very, very first thing that she's going to do, and she's going to carry that thing to its fullest fruition, right? Of like, yo, we're accepting all types of things, trade, whatever. The borders will be opened both like literally and metaphorically, right? Like the borders will be opened. But that's the thing, like, Yamato becomes the ruler or Momonosuke becomes the ruler. Either way, the border is opening. But if, depending on the situation that goes, it's like they can both do it in their own unique ways. And so it leaves me wondering, what does Oda want to do, and what kind of message does he want to leave behind at the end of this arc of who he's going to leave there? And I think it is an actual conversation at this point, because we know that Momonosuke is by blood, he is to rule this country. No question. He's even stated himself. But I feel like we need to have that moment, because Yamato also needs to make a decision too. Both Yamato and Momonosuke at the end of this arc have to make a decision about who they really are. Who is Kozuki Momonosuke, and what does he want to do? Who is Yamato, and what does she want to do? Genuinely from the bottom of their hearts. And when they make those decisions, because we already see some decisions already being made, but when they make those decisions, that's when we'll see who is potentially going to be joining us and who is going to stay behind and become the ruler of this country. Because I feel like that is a conversation to be had, because it is important to the overall story. I mean, depending on who rules is depending on what ideologies are present in the country, what things are talked about in the country, what things are accepted within the country. You know what I mean? So I'm curious. Either way, the borders are opening, but it would be like a different type of vibe depending on who does it, and different types of scenarios that can come out of it too. So I'm just food for thought, right? Just food for thought. Hypothetical situations. A lot of stuff to think about in this chapter. Luffy and Momonosuke. Just to touch upon this briefly, talked about this for many years. I always shout out that one article in the One Piece podcast that talked about Momonosuke and turning into an adult, and Luffy riding on adult dragon Momonosuke against Kaido. You know, I always love that theory. But to see that it's actually happening now is just awesome. And the fact that Luffy's like letting him know, yo, I'm depending on you. If you don't do this, we're not winning this war. The raid is failing. You know, shout out to Mr. Morge. The raid is failing if we do not go up there. So I'm leaving it up to you. Either you can be here and not turn into a dragon and stay in fear, or you can allow this thing to succeed and you take me up there to Kaido and I take care of business. And so it's great because it brings together the themes of the story, it brings together the growth of Momonosuke perfectly. And now it is his decision. He's got to make the decision. You feel me? Either Momonosuke does it or he doesn't. And to me, he's going to do it. So we're going to see that come into fruition soon. And it is going to, just the payoff of that's going to be so beautiful. When he manages to go up there and Kaido's like, holy flag darts, you know, and we want to assume after he's defeated Yamato, then we leave Yamato and Momonosuke together, Luffy and Kaido start throwing hands, and it's going to be so goated. But on that same line of thought, because we're going to see that story progress, the story of Luffy and Momonosuke making it up to the roof, and Kaido and Yamato boxing / backstory. All of that is going to be taking place while the battles on the bottom are happening. This is going to be my final topic because this is one that I haven't been able to stop thinking about since I read this chapter. And that is the future Tobiropo fights, man, and the future battles just in general, with, you know, Jack King and Queen as well. I do wonder how he's going to do this. After this week's chapter, I'm going to go out on a limb and say this. I don't think any of the Tobiropo members have been defeated. I'm just going to go out and say that. Not even Ulti. Even though Ulti got a double page spread, I don't think she's been defeated. And this is why I say that. I think that now we're going to be placed in a situation where we're going to see all of these battles start ending. I don't know if they're going to end one by one or if they're going to end all in one chapter. And I present that scenario because if you remember back in chapter 998, I believe, we saw all these chapters starting at the same time, or all these fights starting at the same time, besides the Zoro and King fight, the Sanji and Queen fight, and the Inuarashi and Jack fight. Those three excluded. The Tobiropo fights all started, and Nami versus Ulti. All the other ones started at the same time. And so, if Oda ever wanted to do something different, this is the arc to do it. And what I mean by that is, if he decides to dedicate a single chapter to nothing but final climaxes, he could do it. He could dedicate a chapter to the end of the Sasaki and Frankie fight, Jinbei and Who's Who, and Robin and Black Maria, and have it work. Why? Because it is the Kabuki Act play structure. Nothing but double page spreads back to back to back. And if he wanted to go even further, he could wait until all the fights are nearing their climax and give us one chapter of nothing but straight up final hits. But he's probably not going to do that because there's a lot of characterization that needs to happen for these characters, and you can't really do that if it's nothing but final hits. So if we're giving him sections, right? After each section ends, then this is the way I see it. Ulti and Page 1 are coming back. Ulti and Pei ain't done. Ulti is going to come back for Nami, and Page 1's coming back for Usopp. We're going to see them throw hands. We're going to see them throw down. I've seen some comments talking about Soge King's coming back. Yo, Soge King comes back, Page 1 is done. Sogeking Dashimasu. Sogeking Dashimasu. Yo, so the Sniper King? The King of the Snipers comes in here in no scopes. This man, page 1, and we're marking out. That is a triple Sen hat level chapter, son. Sogeking? Listen, Nami and Ulti actually getting final hits here. And Ulti's the only one that I can see that's actually down at this point. But even then, to me, Ulti come back. So, Ulti coming back, page 1 coming back, and then we never finished the Who's Who, Sasaki, and Black Maria fights. And so with that being said, I think we're going to get into a situation here where we're going to move and progress with possibly the other battles. So we're probably going to see Inarashi versus Jack, maybe in sections, right? Maybe next chapter, let's just say we see Killer versus Hawkins in a section. We see Law and Big Mom versus Kid. That's probably gonna take up the most time out of all of these. That one and the Monster Trio fights, and of course Luffy versus Kaido are gonna take up the most time. But after Luffy versus Kaido, it's gonna be Zoro, Sanji, and then Kid and Law's fights are going to, because the thing about the Kid and Law fight is we have no idea. The other one's going down. There's no question. They're going down. But when it comes to Big Mom, it's such and we don't even know if that fight will conclude by the time that Luffy finishes beating Kaido, right? So let's put it like this, right? Let's just say that Oda decides to give us so we have all the battles presented in front of us. We start off with Sanji, or we continue off next week, let's say, like I said, Killer Hawkins, whatever, Inarashi Jack. And then we move to Sanji and Zoro. Sanji and Zoro and their battles, Sanji versus Queen and Zoro versus King, unquestioned. Those are two chapters minimum. 2 chapters minimum, and I'm talking about 2 chapters in terms of 2 chapters worth of pages, so 18 pages. So 36 pages minimum for both of those battles, right? We haven't even started Zoro versus King yet. But Sanji and Queen have gotten a total of like 2 pages. So 2 to 3 pages, don't page spread, 2 to 3 pages. So we've already started that one. But because of how much trouble I think Queen is going to give Sanji in regards to him knowing about the technology and the Jurama and all that stuff, I think that one's going to go on a little longer than Sanji would probably think about. Because Sanji's going to be wiping the floor with this man. But he's not going to anticipate Queen knowing a lot about his raid suit. And so that's going to cancel that out and force Sanji another way to learn. At least that's the way I see it. So with that being said, I think we're going to start seeing the climaxes one by one, section by section, taking place back to back to back to back to back, and it's gonna cause for what volume was in Alabasta? I think it was volume 22 that was like this, where we saw nothing but end of fights, just back to back to back to back, and it was so glorious, so glorious. So like the volume will start. I don't know if it's volume 102 or whatever, and so this is out of my mind. Let's just say volume starts off Frankie Pone Sasaki. Bang, nasty, awesome, whatever. We get that. Maybe it'll be half a chapter, maybe a full chapter, maybe half. Right, so regardless, half or full. Nasty, bang. Who's Who and Jinbei, bang. And these are final hits and character moments for these characters. Awesome lines of dialogue, whatever. Black Maria Robin, bang. Nami Ulti, bang. Usopp and Page 1, bang. Like just not back to back to back. And then when we reach the Zoro, the climaxes of Sanji's fight, Zoro's fight, and the Big Mom and Kid and Law fight, that's when Luffy will go up there to Kaido. And the reason why I say this is because when you look back to the fights earlier on in the series, Luffy usually fights the main antagonist when those battles are either already coming to a close or right whenever they're already happening. So Luffy got back up to Doflamingo right after Zoro Pone Pika, right? Luffy was fighting Lucci when all the other battles ended except for the Zoro and Sanji fights. So Alabasta, round 3 with Crocodile happened after their battles concluded. So I think in this arc we'll probably see, because the thing is the Yamato flashback has to take place in the middle. The Yamato and Kaido flashback has to take place in the middle of one of these battles. Right, in the middle of one battle, cut into the next one, because we see how he's handled so far. We'll start off a chapter here, then go over here, then come over here. And so one of those come over here and here, we're going to see the Kaido and Yamato stuff really hitting the fan, and the Luffy and Momonosuke stuff hitting. Honestly, Luffy and Momonosuke will probably see that 2 more times. One time for the decision, and second time when they're actually flying up there, right? And then the next time we'll see them will be after Kaido has defeated Yamato, and after we've seen the backstory. But that stuff will take place while these battles are all at their climaxes. So like as they're all ending, we're getting progression and all that stuff too. And then once Luffy makes it up to the roof, we're gonna have a glorious volume of the conclusions of Big Mom versus Law and Kid, however that concludes, Zoro and King, and Sanji and Queen. And then we're gonna finish off the last couple chapters with the Straw Hats rallying as the roof is breaking down, as Luffy and Kaido are throwing hands. I don't care what's going on up there. It's the GOAT with the coat against Kaido. And it is going to be a glorious last couple chapters for Wano. Give or take, chapter 1050, somewhere around there. So like early next year, mid next year, we're going to be seeing the end of Onigashima. That's the way I'm looking at it after the end of this week's chapter. After the end of this week's chapter, that's kind of like the plan I have in mind. Now, this is Oda. My man just breaks ankles all day. But that looks like the plan at this point in time. But, of course, I'm not Oda. I'm just a fan. So let me know what y'all thought about the things stated in this video, about this chapter. If you weren't able to comment in the last video, if you have some more stuff to say, please let me know in the comments down below. I definitely look forward to it. Once again, if you are looking forward to being a part of one of those test streams, I plan on test streaming sometime this week. So if you want to be a part of those test streams, please turn on notifications. And because I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know if I'll do it like in the morning, my time, or nighttime. It's going to be random. It's going to be whenever I have time. At least like an hour to really test out and see, you know, how what the lag is like and stuff. Because I haven't streamed in so long. And so we'll see what happens there. But please let me know what y'all thought about this week's chapter in the comments down below. And let me know what y'all think about the upcoming future. Because with the way this chapter went, with the way these chapters have been going, the climaxes to all these battles are going to be amazing. And these aren't even the main fight. Roof Piece is genuinely my favorite action sequences in the whole series. That hasn't even his climax. Not even at the climax. So we're not ready. We're not ready for what's to come, man. But cannot wait for it. And especially can't wait for Toei to get to all this. But yeah, man, y'all have a blessed one. Peace out. One Piece greatness. This has been the Afterthoughts. Man, dude. We're in for some fire. Shout out to Robin, man.